moments in wrestling that actually made me cry. Like, if you're a real wrestling fan, like, you really dedicated to this, there have been times when you have at least cried one time. If you haven't, then you is not a real wrestling fan. First up, we got Ric Flair losing to Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 24. That was the first ever moment that when I actually cried watching it. Just watching Ric Flair having to end his career in WWE against Shawn Michaels was a great ass match, and it was the best person for Ric Flair to retire to. And when I watched that, and Shawn Michaels said I'm sorry, and he switched the music to them, and the referee went 1, 2, 3, I immediately started crying. Because like, I used to like Ric Flair growing up. Even though I didn't watch him in his prime, I watched him from like, the early 2000s up until his retirement. Well, at least he was supposed to retire. He went to TNA and all that. But still, this was the first moment that actually made me cry as it being a wrestling fan. And then we got Roman Reigns announcing that he had leukemia again and he had relinquished his title. Yes, I was a Roman fan back then. But this moment right here definitely made me cry. And probably millions of others. It's very rare in the wrestling world that you see somebody go through this. And when he announced that shit on TV, bro, I shed it mad tears just right along with everybody else. And then we got Edge having to relinquish his title and forced to retire. Even though later on he has came back and, continued his career. But it was still a sad moment when he had to retire. I didn't expect that to happen. I just knew at the time that he was supposed to come out and announce something. And when he came out and gave his promo about him having to retire due to injuries, I broke out crying, bro. Because he was one of my favorite wrestlers growing up. Same with Daniel Bryan having to be forced to retire. Even though later on he has came back. But still, it was a sad moment to see my boy Daniel Bryan having to retire early in his career due to injuries. It's like every time somebody having to be forced to retire, I have to sit there and watch it. I happen to be watching the TV show and I have to sit there and watch them announce the retirement. That shit hurt, bro. Even though he's came back now, and all that, he doing his thing. And then we got the Undertaker's Hall of Fame speech. Knowing that we was never going to be able to see the Undertaker in the ring again, well, as of right now, because you never know. But it was still sad. I definitely cried watching Undertaker's Hall of Fame speech, I ain't gonna lie to you. Because, he was like our whole childhood watching SmackDown, you know what I'm saying? So to see him retire, knowing that he's actually retired is crazy. And then we got Kofi Mania. Definitely was a happy moment for me, bro. I loved watching Kofi Kingston win that championship against Daniel Bryan and proving to everybody, even though it took him 10 years, that he still was able to win the championship. And then we got my boy Rey Mysterio Hall of Fame speech. It definitely was happy tears seeing Rey Mysterio get inducted into the Hall of Fame, knowing that he's still a full-time wrestler.